This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News.
International student visa cancellations have happened in both North Dakota and Minnesota. How local students and MSUM are responding.
Researchers at NDSU are using this collection to find a solution to a nationwide issue.
A familiar face is making the jump from Division II to Denver.
Tradition and tribe come together at this annual celebration of culture. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Sayla Jacoy.
And I'm Chris Hovden. International students have been a popular topic, with student detainments and visa cancellations happening on college campuses across the country.
Reporter Nate Cohn found out how international students in our own backyard are feeling and how area colleges are working to protect them.
As international students around the United States face a fear of losing their ability to pursue a college education, students on campuses in the Fargo-Moorhead area are no different.
Seems like they're really scared right now. Like they came here to study and focus on learning, and like they can't do that right now because it's so stressful.
A visa revocation on the campus of NDSU and a series of terminations in the Minnesota state system has escalated those fears.
In general, I fear and worry of, oh no, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what to say or do or not say or not do.
On the campus of Minnesota State University Moorhead, staff say they are keeping a watchful eye on the situation.
We are monitoring on a daily basis to see if any of our students have had their visa status revoked.
The university is making efforts to protect its international students, including providing ways they can protect themselves should their student visa status come into question.
We've encouraged students to make copies of all of their paperwork, their passports, their visas, things like that, and have those copies with them.
With the future of international students at MSUM uncertain, other students worry for their friends and peers.
I care deeply about my friends, and it's hard because you don't really know how you can help support them in a situation like this because it's so new.
But the university has one clear message for all students.
Our campus is better because we have international students here. We definitely want to have them here. So I think the number one thing is to share that with them, that we value having them here.
Nate Cohn, Campus News.
MSUM says it's prepared to help students with the next steps if their visas get canceled. That includes providing access to an immigration attorney. Students are back on campus at Florida State University returning only days after the shooting that left 2 people dead and 6 others hurt. After originally announcing classes would resume as normal, FSU President Richard McCullough released a follow-up statement saying the school would be flexible and work with students who don't feel comfortable coming back.
It feels disrespectful to the victims, and it feels disrespectful to a community that's still grieving to go back this soon.
Mandatory attendance policies have been waived and remote options are available for some courses. Students have been asked to work with professors to find a way to complete coursework if they're not going back to class. A petition urging FSU to cancel final exams next week has collected almost 12,000 signatures.
Researchers at NDSU are looking to find solutions for a very common issue: birds hitting windows. I spoke with the professor and students who study the birds and buildings on campus and have identified the problem spots. A passionate group of researchers.
The patterns on the back are really beautiful.
And a massive collection.
This is our salvage freezer where we keep all of the birds that we've salvaged across campus.
This collection led to students and staff asking the lab for help.
We were also approached by staff, students, and faculty when they would find dead birds.
According to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, the bird population in North America has gone down by about 1/3 since the 1970s. A major factor? Birds running into windows during migration.
2 days ago, this poor guy struck a window, and this is an American woodcock, and he's this beautiful, beautiful bird.
In the U.S., window collisions are estimated to kill between 365 million and 1 billion birds a year. This is especially evident at NDSU, which is along the Central Flyway, a major migratory route for birds. More than half of those bird fatalities are actually centered around 4 spots on campus. This is number 1, Waldron Hall.
So you have some cases of birds just not recognizing that it's glass, but there's also a lot of that kind of low brush. The trees can reflect into the window so that the bird just thinks, oh, there's more tree, I'll go land there, and then they hit.
The reason they have a ton of glass is because they're like, oh, so, it's like a really pretty, but a lot of people aren't thinking about the fact that these really beautiful buildings are like also causing harm to like so many really beautiful birds.
Now these researchers do have a few fixes on their minds. Within the next couple years, they hope to put up window films. They're also working on changing codes for future buildings. However, these aspirations don't end at NDSU.
On the big scale, pie in the sky dreams would have some kind of federal legislation being passed on that. But we have a long ways to go, and that's why we're starting small.
A lot of big dreams, all for these little animals. Chris Hovden, Campus News. If you do find a bird that's hit a window, the researchers say you shouldn't touch it. Instead, you should reach out to a professional, like the Game and Fish Department or your local university.
5 Minnesota college presidents have joined almost 200 leaders of U.S. universities in signing a letter opposing Trump's influence on higher education. The letter from the American Association of Colleges and Universities calls for constructive engagement while speaking out against what they call unprecedented government overreach and political interference. Still, it says the schools don't oppose legitimate government oversight. The letter comes as the Trump administration has cut research funding at universities across the country. Thousands of specimens are being scanned by a camera at Concordia College thanks to a $25,000 grant.
Reporter Nate Cohen tells us why the project is important to Minnesota conservation efforts.
In the basement of Concordia College's Integrated Science Center, this museum has birds, plants, and everything in between. But they're here for more than show and tell. Here, in the Elsie Welter Natural History Museum, thousands of specimens are being scanned and stored to be put into the Minnesota Biodiversity Atlas. The Biodiversity Atlas is a project funded by the state of Minnesota with the goal of making biological records easily accessible for anyone, anywhere.
And if you're curious about a particular species and their range, you could look that up on the database, which would be kind of nice. And it would have range information, where it was caught, mass, measurements, and then photos of the actual specimen.
For entry into the atlas, students use special scanning equipment to get detailed photographs of the specimens. But that's just a small part of the process.
And there's kind of two separate parts to this project in terms of getting stuff onto the Biodiversity Atlas. There's obviously the picture part, getting the good photos, and then there's also the more like informational part, like getting all the information that's associated with those specimens uploaded to the atlas.
It's a process that gives students an opportunity to learn about what interests them.
It's pretty cool just because we get to interact with like every single collection in the museum. It's not just like one collection or one thing. It's really just like all encompassing, and you get to explore like as much as you want really in here.
A $25,000 grant brought the equipment to Concordia, and it'll remain in Moorhead once the collection in the museum is recorded, allowing Concordia to continue scanning specimens as they come through the front drawer. Nate Cohen, Campus News.
Before Concordia can keep the equipment, scanners taking a quick trip to MSUM so their collection can also be recorded. The Department of Education says it plans on restarting the collection of federal student loans in default. It'll end a roughly 5-year pause that started during the pandemic. Student loans go into default after 270 days without payment. If your loans are in default, the department says you should start making a monthly payment, enroll in an income-driven repayment plan, or sign up for loan rehabilitation. If not, employers could be ordered to withhold a percentage of your income to pay the debt. The collections will restart on May 5th. A group of NDSU students are working on a robot designed to help farmers. It's part of a worldwide competition where teams work to solve real-world agricultural challenges using cutting-edge technology. Reporter Derek Fingston stopped by and checked out the robot in action.
This robot could improve the lives of farmers around the world for decades to come. A team of NDSU graduate and undergrad students has been assembling a robot for the Farm Robotics Challenge, a worldwide competition to combine agricultural engineering, computer science, and artificial intelligence to solve challenges farmers face every day. Challenges like weeds.
We can make one robot containing mechanical weeder, to remove the weeds efficiently.
The robotics, this kind of things, and AI is so much famous right now. So why can't we apply it in the tractors nowadays that we have, and why can't we use a robot like this?
By using a mechanical weeder, the robot would help farmers who don't want to use herbicides, like organic farmers. The students at NDSU say projects like these are a unique opportunity.
It is one of the areas where I see a robotics background and our agricultural mix. It's something a little bit more far away from just tractors and seeing how everything can kind of progress forward in technology.
It means a lot to work for this project. It's really hard work for the farmers to get a tractor on the field and run it for days and days where the fields are really huge.
The challenge has given these students the opportunity to get hands-on experience in their fields and will change the way farmers tend to theirs. Derek Fingston, Campus News.
Projects were due on Thursday. An awards ceremony is set for May 8th.
For the first time ever, NDSU hosted a week of events raising awareness about hidden disabilities. Jose Rosario, the founder of the Phoenix Empowered, was featured at one of the events. He's traveled the country bringing awareness to disabilities. Jose developed cerebral palsy shortly after birth, but he says he didn't want to let his disability define him. NDSU was able to get his input on how to make people with disabilities more comfortable while making campus more inclusive.
The story that I've experienced of being different is a story of so many, and we have to be talking about this as mental health professionals. We have to be thinking about what do people need that we're not doing.
Jose is working towards his PhD in clinical psychology. To close out the week, students took to the court. Reporter Dallas Correll shows us how basketball encompasses what they learned during the week.
Benson Bunker is used to hosting NDSU volleyball.
Oh. You weren't watching, Bozer.
But on this day, the sound of students playing wheelchair basketball fills the space.
82!
The rules are very similar to basketball, but made accessible for people with disabilities.
The dribbling, it's not typical basketball where you're dribbling like this.
And helping bring the equipment to play was Hope Inc., a nonprofit organization that goes all around the area holding events like this, giving anyone the opportunity to play.
1-0!
But NDSU's goal for this event? To keep the awareness going beyond this week.
And so that's why we have Hope Inc. here, because they do yearly events, and so it's for them to tie to our community so that the awareness doesn't just happen within a week, it happens throughout the entire year.
And for Bill Gromish, the executive director of Hope Inc., he is happy to see people want to be involved.
You know, there's a lot of highlights with Hope. I'm always excited whenever we get a new person joining us. If that's a child that's 3 years old, or if it's an adult that's 60 years old. Again, I'm just so excited for them. Like I said, I think the program is very impactful.
Hope had some students, a few NDSU men's basketball players, and even David Cook, the president of NDSU, all here to play some wheelchair basketball and show that anyone can join in on the game. Dallas Correll.
Oh, here they come! Here comes the herd!
Campus News.
NDSU says they hope to hold events like Hidden Disabilities Week several times a year moving forward.
MSU Moorhead students got the chance to show off the hard work they're doing in class. At the Student Academic Conference, students present their research projects to professionals and other members of the campus community. The all-day event includes both poster boards and oral presentations. Student presenters say the conference gives them a great opportunity to share what they've learned.
I'm able to present what I've been working so hard on, and also seeing what my colleagues and my students that I work with all the time also are working on.
The conference featured over 300 student presenters. NDSU is teaching kids about agriculture through its annual event, Kitty Days.
I stopped by to join in on the fun and find out what kids are learning about.
We're learning about animals.
Starstruck kindergartners walking through sawdust, blown away by the cows, sheep, pigs, and other farm animals shown in the NDSU Shepherd Arena. Pre-K through kindergarten students have had the opportunity to learn about agriculture and animals. just like Stark right over here. West Fargo teachers smile as their young students express curiosity and amazement about the farm animals.
Well, we're starting a science unit on animal needs, so this is kind of our kickoff for our kindergarten science unit, learning about what animals need to survive.
Kindergartners spend time with horses, pigs, and cows, but one farm animal stood out the most.
Probably the sheep. Lamb. Petting the sheep.
This year marked the start of a new partnership between NDSU and the West Fargo kindergartners.
In the past, it has just been a week-long event for preschools and daycares. This year, we partnered with West Fargo Public Schools for their kindergarten classes.
A lot of these kids that are coming here, like, this is the first time they've seen an animal that's from a farm.
What do you want to be when you grow up, Hadley?
A vet.
Beyond the mooing and chirping was a reminder that the food we eat and the milk we drink all is impacted by one important factor.
I feel like everyone is tied to agriculture, even if they don't think. If you're eating food, that's agriculture.
Sayla Jakeaway.
Yeah, and I wish I could have a pet lamb.
Campus News. The Saddle and Sirloin Club also hosted a community night where they collected non-perishable food items for NDSU's Good for the Herd food pantry. An MSUM softball player has cemented her status as one of the most prolific hitters in program history. Senior infielder Annika Norman set the new program record for hits in a career. The previous record of 167 hits was set by Leah Davis in 2004. Norman currently sits at 171 hits over her 4 years at MSUM. The Dragons are playing Bemidji State at home today at 1 p.m.
The MSUM Dragons are on the hunt for a new men's basketball coach after Tim Bergstrasser took a job as a head coach in Denver. Reporter Dallas Carell talked with the coach and found out why it's even a shock to him that he's now leading a D1 program.
But as a competitor myself, the Summit League is something I want to be a part of.
That was Tim Bergstrasser, the coach who has been running the MSUM men's basketball program for the last 3 seasons. But next year, he will be the head coach of the D1 Denver Pioneers.
And right now is the right time to be at DU.
He led the Dragons to a 75-22 record during his time as head coach, being able to win 2 NSIC conference tournaments and leading MSUM to their deepest D2 national tournament run since 2015. Bergstrasser said he didn't know what he wanted to do when he was in college, but after an injury sidelined him from playing, he took on a coaching role, not knowing where it would take him.
To see where I was as like a terrified little GA to being scared to run a scout or do something in practice, and now here I am and I'm a head coach of a D1 program.
Not long after it was announced that Bergstrasser was leaving, MSUM had multiple players enter the transfer portal, and within a day, many of them have committed to Denver, showing that Bergstrasser left an impact on these athletes, just like MSUM made an impact on him.
Something that's always going to be near and dear to me. I'm going to love MSUM forever just because they've changed my life and they've helped me grow into who I am right now.
Dallas Carell, Campus News.
Coach Bergstrasser says he's starting recruiting for next season right away. Let's face it, dorm room space is tight, but one MSUM student has found enough room for a peculiar collection. That's right, Crocs. Miranda Langford has over 50 pairs, from Shrek, Cars, even MSUM themed. However, only some made the trip with her to college. Miranda says she actually didn't plan on starting a collection.
And then I was like, oh, there's a new one. That one's cool, let me buy it. And it just kept going until eventually it was like, oh, this is a collection now.
Miranda wears her Crocs to plenty of events, from graduation to singing competition, even her brother's wedding. When it comes to new pairs, Miranda says there's no plan on stopping anytime soon. With the start of spring comes the Native American powwow season. Area college campuses celebrated by hosting the Woodlands and High Plains Powwow.
I visited the powwow and spoke with one of the head dancers, an MSUM student who's embracing his heritage both on and off campus. Drums and song, dance, traditional attire, and Native American arts fill Concordia's Memorial Center as the university hosts the 34th annual Woodlands and High Plains Powwow. MSUM senior Clay LaRock from Turtle Mountain Reservation performs a traditional dance routine as head dancer.
It's a grass dance outfit. They always have grass dancers come west the arena before powwow starts. The head dancers anyways, they're supposed to kind of get like the dancers all dancing.
Knowledge is power. Tradition is strength. This year's theme for the annual powwow.
And I think that's the most important thing for no matter this community or other community is to learn what tribe and what culture and stuff was here prior to like civilization.
Dancers, flag bearers, veterans, and elders display sacred routines to drum beats and honor songs, showcasing Native spirituality, history, and the coming together of tribes. Among the performances, vendors share how their handcrafted goods are used to preserve Native traditions.
We go to a lot of powwows and we don't see a lot of like home fragrances. That's why we have like sage and we have a sweet tobacco, pipe tobacco, because it just reminds me of like my heritage of where I come from.
Beyond the traditional song and dance was a reminder that education is important to preserving Native communities and legacy.
It's kind of nice to see now if you look around that there's a lot more younger people and kids and stuff that are dancing. And so just to carry on to the future generations, that's just how much longer for us to give us time to keep on preserving our culture and identity.
Sayla Jakowit, Campus News.
Clay will be graduating from MSUM with a degree in commercial music. His band Blood Quantum uses music to highlight social injustices faced by Native American communities. And that's it for this edition and this season of Campus News.
Thank you for joining us this year, and we can't wait for you to come back next season. We leave you with more from the powwow.
Thanks for joining us, and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead, in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.